Hey Joey, I've just sent over the write-out for the theme from Harry Potter, and once you've had a chance to look it over, I thought that I could give you some tips on practicing it. This music is, it's really slow, but it can be kind of complex in its rhythms and its harmonies, all the accidentals. So the first thing to remember here is that similar to Lift Every Voice and Sing, this is in 6/8, but it's even slower. So rather than feeling the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you're mostly going to feel this in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's very slow. So you're actually going to feel the 8th note, beat the 8th note. If you play this with a metronome, it would probably work best to do a very conscious 8th note, okay? So just starting out, you see that dotted 8th note in the beginning. So that's going to be 1.5 beats long. So you would have 6, 1, and 3, 4, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, and 3, 4, 6, 1, etc. About that tempo, not much faster than that, okay? That kind of explains the dotted 8th, dotted 8th, 16th note, 8th note rhythm that we haven't maybe seen so often. I would also suggest that before you sight read this, and each time you practice it, go through and finger each of the accidentals and actually walk through the part and make sure that you can instantly recognize your D sharps, C sharps, A sharps, G sharps, etc. Right? Just have them at the ready in your fingers, so you don't have to figure it out in the moment. Okay? So remembering that our D sharp is the same as our E flat, that our G sharp is here on the side, our A sharp, and we have in both registers, is a low B flat fingering, and this guy here. And then, of course, our C sharp is up there on the left. And a lot of times when we have the C sharp, it goes directly to the C, into the B, and walks down chromatically, okay? So the notes are really close to each other. We have to know instantly which ones we're playing, okay? All right. So one of the big challenges of this piece is that it needs to be very, very smooth. And a lot of the finger things that we do are quite challenging to do smoothly. You're really coming along and being able to play over the break. I've heard you in class many times play a lot of things very smoothly over the break. And one of the things we talk about when we're playing over the break is keeping down fingers on the right hand when we don't have to put them up or down, right? When they're not going to make a whole lot of difference, it's better to keep them down if we're going to a note, okay? So like a first example of that might be something like a G to B, like you have in pickups to measure 10. Going into measure 10, you have G, B, G, B. All through that, you can keep down those 3 fingers, right? G, B, G, B, G, C, B, A sharp. And you don't have to move those at all, and it's better if you don't. It's much, much smoother than having to go. Where some of the notes won't seal, or some of the keys won't seal, then you just can't quite get the note fast enough. You improve your chances of being able to do that smoothly if you take out some of the finger movement. So I can even leave down that guy right there, so I'm only having to move those, right? And I'm leaving my pinky kind of touching the B key. You can go really smoothly, really quickly between those 2 notes. It doesn't have to be complicated. So you try to look for places where you can do that anywhere you can, going up or going down. If you can jump off of a higher note that's above the break to a note that's below the break and leave a finger down, go ahead and do it. An example of that is like in measure 7 and 8. 7 and 8. Measure 8, yeah, when you're going from the A sharp, right? So if you go C, B, and then you go to A sharp, all your fingers would come back up. But actually right after that, you have to go back down to the low A sharp, right? So it's a lot of C, B, up for A sharp, and then down for A sharp. It's a lot of movement. I play it like this. So I keep everybody down on my right hand. C, B, A sharp, and then I can just easily jump down to the A sharp there. And it's much smoother and easier to navigate that way, okay? Another one is you have to go from a C natural to a G sharp and then back. That's in measure 7 going into measure 8, right? Now, G sharp we would normally play with nothing down, right? Just our little side key. I think you should keep the entire right hand down. 4, 5, 6, and your pinky there. Doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of difference in terms of the sound of the G sharp, but man, it really helps the smoothness of getting back over the break. So I think you can just take any one of these little instances of two notes that are, you know, a wide distance apart from each other and isolate them and just practice it. So I would take that one, the C down to the G sharp. Get really comfortable at just kind of like falling off the C down to the G sharp and then coming back. Same thing with the measure after that going to the A sharp. Keeping the right hand down on the A sharp. Okay, so this can seem really tedious. It can be really awkward, but I promise, it will super benefit the end result if you spend your time well here, okay? When you're practicing these, it kind of goes without saying, but you wanna make sure that you're slurring them. Because if you just go, and you put that space in there, you aren't really able to hear if your fingers are smoothly doing that transition because they're happening in the silence. So when you slur it, you're able to hear little garbage things that are happening in between where our fingers aren't quite aligning. Little things in between that if we put a space, it sounds a lot cleaner with the space, right? So you force yourself to confront the parts of your fingers that may not be so even when you slur it, okay? All right, so here I'm gonna play just slowly through this, and I want you to watch if there are any intervals that you have questions about where you would leave certain fingers down or maybe not leave them. Hopefully this will answer those questions, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. if you have any questions about that, okay? Happy practicing.